Hi everyone, it's Trishna. Hope you're doing well. So I tried to film this video a moment ago and then I had a coughing fit. So just a little reminder that I still have allergies. So if I get into a coughing fit, I'm sorry, I apologize in advance. But basically today what I want to talk about is is America headed towards civil war? Because I see this question coming up a lot. I know it's on a lot of people's minds, especially with the riots just having happened last week, and then Biden's inauguration coming up this Wednesday. This is definitely a very intense time, a very trying time, and this is a question that's on a lot of people's minds: is America headed towards a civil war? So I looked into it energetically, so I want to share what I'm seeing, what's really going on in the energetics, and give you an answer to that question on what we can expect going forward, especially with regards to this question. So when I looked into the energy, here's what I see. Does our nation have cracks? Yes, that much is pretty obvious. Is that crack, or are those cracks going to get significantly bigger? Yes, I see that accelerating over the next 3 months or so. But are those cracks big enough to actually create the civil war, to actually divide the country to the extreme of truly fighting with each other in that way? The answer is no. The energy is there for a civil war to happen. The energy is there. People are obviously thinking about it. People are obviously saying that they're planning for it. It's there. But there isn't enough momentum. And there's a lot of things at play that are going to actually prevent a true civil war from happening. One thing to note is deep down in the energy, nobody actually wants to have a civil war. That includes Trump supporters as well as the rioters. They say that they want to have a civil war. They think that they want to have a civil war. They think, but they think a lot of things, right? They think that they're trying to progress the Republican Party. They think that they are patriots. But in reality, they don't want to further the Republican agenda. They don't want, they don't have a focus of hating Biden specifically. What they really hate, what they really want to destroy is America. So that's actually what is going on in their minds. But how they explain it is we're the patriots, right? But they're not. So there's a lot going on that they say or that they seem to think that they want, but truly, deep down in the energy, nobody wants to have a civil war, including the Trump supporters and including the rioters who are fighting so hard for one. So the other thing is like I like to separate the rioters from the other Trump supporters. The rioters are somebody or are people who actually went to the Capitol Hill, who actually took very intense terrorist-like actions. The others, so there are a very small segment of the overall Trump supporting population. Now, the overall Trump supporting population, the rest of them, not the rioters, not the small segment, but the rest of them, while they do or may really agree with the rioters' actions, while they may feel that way internally and not share externally, or while they may actually verbally express this intention and really agree with all those actions, while that is their mentality, none of them are really the kind of people who are actually going to get up and do something like the rioters do. They're not going to be getting up and actually taking action and joining the rioting forces. That's just not going to happen. So this riot segment is very small and it's really not going to expand. It's not going to expand. It might even shrink from the numbers that they currently have. So again, there's this energy there that certain people seem to want this to happen, but the momentum really isn't there. It's really just not going to crack through the surface and actually happen. So another thing that's really going to help us prevent a civil war is Biden. So Biden is going to do his best, and he's going to do his best and he's going to accomplish this. He's going to keep the nation together. Now, is he going to do the best job ever? No, he's not going to. Not because he doesn't have the skill, not because he doesn't have the desire, not because he doesn't have the knowledge, not because he doesn't want to. The reason why he's not going to do the best job ever at keeping our nation together is because the best job ever would require that we actually rebuild, not patch things together. But we're not currently in a position where we can actually rebuild. If we're not in a position to be able to rebuild because we don't know how to rebuild. If we knew how to rebuild, that's exactly what the new administration would want to do. That's exactly what Biden would want to do. But he doesn't know how yet. None of us do. That's why it hasn't happened yet. So is he going to do the best job ever? No. Is he going to want to do the best job ever? Yes. Is he going to do good enough to be able to keep us together Yes. One thing I do see is within 8 years, so 8 years or less, and this is a long time frame, right? Like 8 years is a long time out. So this is what I'm seeing in the energy now. A lot can change, but this based off of the energy right now, I see that in 8 years or less, we're going to have annexation or secession, whatever the word is for where like a state or group of people want to leave the greater union and want to be on their own and have their own government and their own laws and their own taxes if they so choose or whatever. So whatever that word is, I don't know if it's annexation or whether it's secession, I can't think of it right now. But whatever it is that Texas used to want to do, that I do see happening. I see that segment of rioters basically wanting to move somewhere else within the United States and claim that territory as their own and be separate from the rest of the United States. So I see that happening. Again, and I don't see that happening in Texas. It might happen somewhere crazy, who knows, like California or something, where they can build their little border, their wall if they want to, just in that segment. But anyways, again, I really only see the rioters, maybe a little bit of a bigger group than that, moving. The overall Trump supporting group honestly isn't going to move anywhere. They're going to stay exactly where they are because they know that they have it good. The rioters, maybe them specifically, maybe they are really the ones that are suffering. But most of the Trump population is not suffering. They're actually doing really well. They have it really, really, really good. And they're not willing to give that up. So they're going to stay exactly where they are. So if you're wondering, okay, so most of the Trump supporters, most of them have it good. So then why are they voting for Trump? Why are they voting for this destruction? I don't have any way to sugarcoat this for you. I can only share what I see, but honestly, they vote for Trump because they want to be a jerk. That's it. Like, I don't know how else to explain this. There's no nicer way to say it. That's exactly how I received it. That's exactly how I'm going to share it. They just want to be jerks. And also, at the same time, they had this mentality, all of them, the writers and the other Trump supporters, they all have this mentality that that life is a game that does not have consequences. Because that's how life has been for them. Life is a game that doesn't have consequences. And the rioters are now finding out that actually life is not a game and it does have consequences. And that's why the rioters were rioting in the Capitol, committing crimes, hurting other people, being domestic terrorists, and then taking selfies of it, taking videos of it. And now all the evidence is being used to arrest them. It's because they think it's a game that has no consequences. Why else would you do that? Why else would you selfie that kind of situation, those kinds of activities that you're doing? Because they believe that life is a game that has no consequences for them. That is also why many of the Trump supporters tend to be the types of people who liked to reenact old wars, where they dress up and they carry the Confederate flag. They like to reenact that. They like to play that game because, again, life is a game to them that has no consequences for them. And so that's how they view reality. Life is a game that has no consequences, and that allows them to be jerks. Being a jerk has no negative consequences for them, or hasn't up until now. So that's why they are jerks, because you do what works for you. You push the boundaries as far as you can. And for them, they've been allowed to be a jerk. So that's how they live their life. And they don't really have any problems with that because they've never been punished for it. They've never learned, or they know that it's not right, but they've always been able to get away with it. So they continue to do it. All right. So the final thing that I want to say is, again, there's no momentum for a civil war to actually happen. Yes, the energy is there. Yes, it's strong, but it's never going to crack through the surface. The momentum isn't there. The rioters are a very small group. Biden's going to keep everything together. The overall Trump support base isn't really going to participate. Also, our police force is too strong and too organized and too aware of what's going on at this point in time for that small riot base to really be able to take hold of anything. So again, that also is going to be working to our benefit in this case. So there isn't enough momentum. Also, it is not in the divine's plan for a civil war to happen. The divine is not interested in annihilation right now. It's not interested in, it's only interested in improvement. So it's not interested in annihilation. It's not interested in destruction. Destruction is not necessarily a bad thing, but in this case, it is not interested in overall destruction. It is not interested in annihilation. It only is looking for improvement. And the divine right now feels like we have the right leader in place. It's Biden. And while I do support Biden and I did vote for Biden, he was not my original candidate of interest when we had like a million candidates back in the day who were running. So, but anyways, what I'm getting is that he has a good heart. He is the right person. Things are where they need to be at this point in time to help move us forward. And if there's anything that you want to do to be able to help things move forward in our country, if you are a light worker, if you're somebody who likes to manifest, if you are in the witchcraft community, if you like the law of attraction, if you're somebody who really wants things to go well, wants things to improve, wants things to get better, truly for everybody, then the best thing that you can do right now is really put some protection around Biden. Really shift your thoughts around this because he currently is not corrupted. So, but he needs to be protected from that because a lot of politicians can get corrupted. They can get in sticky situations with beyond the government and the darker sides and things like that. Like there's a lot of influences that can get into play that can really start tripping them up. So if we are to move forward, if we are to progress, then we really need to put some protection around him, put some positive thoughts around making sure that he does not get corrupted because he's not currently corrupted. And we want to maintain that because that he is a key to really helping us move forward and progress. So that's what I'm getting for you. The short answer is no, we are not headed towards a civil war. Yes, the energy is there, but the momentum is not strong enough, and there's too many pieces in place at this point in time that are not going to allow that kind of energy, that kind of undertone of really wanting it to actually surface. And also, nobody's desire is to actually have that happen, even those who keep saying that they want to have it happen. So, I hope this is interesting. I'm curious about your thoughts, and yeah, I'm curious about what you think, what you see, what you feel, if you agree, disagree. And I will see you in my next video.